Whether you're introverted or extroverted, when it comes to making money with business, it really doesn't matter because there's ways of doing things that's going to allow you to excel dependent on your personality type. If you prefer to work behind the scenes, building systems and processes, testing and improving what you've built, and just generally taking a scientific approach to your business, what we're going to go through is perfect. Now, a lot of people perceive this method as boring, but watching the metrics increase based on the tests and changes I've made not only makes me more money, but it's so satisfying to watch. And if you haven't guessed it already, it's email. More specifically, automated email. In this video, we're going to go over creating your email script, the automated email follow-ups, sequence and frequency, the key metrics you should be following, and how to optimize them to make the most amount of money. Before we have a look at scripting your email, there's two things I need to say. The first is there's no such thing as a perfect script. And if people have tried to sell you the perfect script in the past, chances are they've probably never been in email marketing because there's no such thing. It's impossible. And the second is if two people send the exact same script, they may get different results. This is because there's factors that work outside of the script, such as niche, service delivery, lead quality, and sending times, which is why it's so much more important that you understand the basics and the fundamentals of creating a script rather than just following or importing someone else's template. With that said, let's have a look at actually scripting your email. So the first part of your email is arguably the most important, and that is the subject line. So business owners get sent tens or thousands of emails every single month from friends, family, colleagues, subscriptions they've signed up to, shops they've bought from, and everything else. And unlike texts, most of them go unopened. So to stand out in someone's inbox comes down to three things: familiarity, urgency, and pattern interrupts. Familiarity can be difficult to achieve in a subject line, but to achieve it, ask yourself the question, what would an email subject line from my mum or my friend look like? For urgency, it's fairly straightforward, but you need to be careful because it's easy to get wrong and can come across as spammy. Pattern interrupts are one of the most useful subject lines. They require something which interrupts the pattern of the individual scanning their inbox. This can be done with unusual formatting, a select choice of words, numbers, symbols, or something even more unusual. The good thing is these can be combined with genuine subject lines, which are less likely to wind people up or make them think they've been tricked. The next part of the script is the icebreaker. The icebreaker is the first thing your recipient is going to read. It's important that you capture their attention, but don't give the perception it's been sent to multiple people. So in this case, what I would do is create a different icebreaker for each niche and location that you reach out to. Let's have a look at a good and a bad example. Hi Lewis, my team really likes what you do and would love to share some good news. Now, the my team really likes what you do isn't a very good icebreaker because it comes across as insincere and completely unpersonalized. Now, if we compare this to a good icebreaker, hi Sandra, we love that you are finding family homes for dogs in Brooklyn. We'd love to share some good news. This icebreaker has mentioned the niche, which is dog adoption centers, and the area that they service. This shows that the person sending the email is actually directing at a specific business or a specific business in that area. This is much more likely to engender a response or at least get the recipient to read the rest of the email. So following on from the icebreaker, you have the segue section of the email. Although it's very small, it's your way of conveying the authenticity in how you come to emailing them. So for example, in my agency, I find a lot of leads through Google Maps. So my segue would be, whilst looking through Google, I noticed you didn't have a website. The purpose of the segue is to tell the lead where or how you found their business. Following the segue is the hook. So in the hook, it's time to actually explain why you're sending the email in the first place. And the best way to do this is to identify and explain a problem in the lead's business and how you can provide a solution to fix it. So let's have a look at some examples. Businesses lose revenue to competitors if they can't be found online, and the solution would be to have a website. Businesses that have little or no reviews look less established and less trustworthy. So a solution would be to implement a Google Reviews management system. A lead's website is on the 5th page of Google, and when customers look for a service, generally they don't go past the 2nd page. So the solution would be to introduce or improve their SEO. As part of the hook, this is where I offer free value to the lead. So my web design agency, and what I teach my students to do, is provide a completely free website mockup for that lead's business. Now, what I recommend you do is to think of something you can produce for free that's quick and easy to do, because this is going to give you a lot of leverage when it comes to the sales process. Now, onto the call to action. Think of this as the goal of the email, or what it is you want to achieve from sending the email. This could be asking the recipient to reply and affirm that they're interested in receiving more information. For example, they may want to receive more information about the free website mockup I'm offering. Or asking the recipient to click through to your calendar link and schedule a call. Or asking the recipient to click through to your website to watch a case study or review your testimonials. Now, CTAs can be controversial in the world of cold email, because some people say you shouldn't include a CTA until that lead has responded to your initial email. Now, in my experience, if the lead has to take further action just to receive more information, they won't do it. So what I always suggest is that you provide a very obvious CTA in your initial email. The final piece of the puzzle is sign-offs. Now, it might seem incredibly straightforward, but sign-offs form a vital part of micro-communications that will determine the way in which your email is interpreted. So keep it semi-formal and friendly. Now you have a script, it's time to discuss automations. Now, I'm sorry to say, but although the script we've just gone through is going to be the most important, we are going to need to create some more scripts. The reason for this is we're not just going to send a single email to our leads. Instead, we're going to have a set of follow-up emails in the case that the lead doesn't respond to our initial email. I follow a 4-email format, so let's have a look. The first email is going to be the email we've just discussed. The second is going to be a polite nudge to the recipient, because they might have already read the email or intended to reply but haven't done so already. The third email is going to be your last chance to get the lead to follow through with your CTA. It should be longer form, refer to statistics, potentially have a narrative, speak about competitors, and emphasize the ease and the lack of commitment needed by them to follow through with your CTA. Email 4, this is a breakup email. 90% of the time, it won't be responded to, but it's your final chance to establish credibility and leave a long-lasting impression on your leads. This should be short and stress that they are missing out by not getting back to you. It's also important that you send your emails at the right time. So what I recommend you do is send the first email, email 1, on day 0, which is straight away. You then send email 2, 1 day after email 1, which is 24 hours. You then send email 3, 2 days after you send email 2, so 48 hours. And then you send email 4, 2 days after you send email 3, which again is another 48 hours. So now that you have your automation set up and running, how do we go about optimizing your emails so that they generate you the most amount of money? And it's broken down into 2 parts: analyzing and acting on metrics, and A/B testing. The 3 main metrics you want to analyze and act on are open rate, click-through rate, and response rate. Open rate is whether someone's clicked on your email. Click-through rate is whether someone has clicked on a link on your email, for example, a calendar link or a link to your website. And the response rate is whether someone's actually responded to your email. Why are those metrics so important, and what can we do to improve them over time? We'll need to carry out some A/B testing. A/B testing is essentially sending out different variations of the same email to see which one performs better. So let's say we want to optimize and improve our open rate. What do? It's important to understand that the subject line is the variable that determines how good or bad your open rate is. So let's say we have 200 leads we're going to send an email to. Instead of just creating one subject line and sending it to all of them, instead we would create 2 different subject lines and send them to 100 leads each. We can then see, based on the open rate, which is the better subject line. If we were looking at optimizing and improving the click-through rate, the variables are less obvious, but things to A/B test are the CTA wording, buttons versus links, and the placement of the CTA within the email. For response rate, it's kind of difficult to measure because it depends heavily on the goal of your email and your CTA. But for me, it's important because I need the lead to respond to me saying that they do want a free website mockup. And I need this before I can continue. So generally, the variables I look at are a combination of the email body, the subject line, and the CTAs. With that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed and got some value from this. If you're interested in starting your own web design agency or need some assistance scaling your current agency, you can schedule a call with me from a link in the description. I give all my students an exact one-on-one copy of my current agency so that all they need to do is come in and scale it.